එකේ. බොරුවට කෑ ගන්න නෙමෙයි. අත්‍යවශ්‍ය නෑ. මොම අපි ඉන්න මේක මොකක් කාටුණත් ඒක හැම තෙල් ගහන්න බෑ. මම බොරුවට කෑ ගන්න නෑ. කැමරා අයින් කරන්න එපා. කැමරා ගන්න. අයි මොකද එහෙම කරන්නේ මොකද? මේක හැමෝටම මේ මොනවාද? පොලිසිය පාසල් වලට ඉන්නට ගන්න බෑ. අරස් කරන්න බෑ. ඉන්න යන්න බෑ. එහෙම කරන්නේ අපි කීයේද අපි මෙතන ඉන්නේ. එහෙම ගන්න. එහෙම අපිට ගන්න. මැනේජර් මාත්‍යට දෙන්නම අපි කිව්වා. මැනේජර් මාත්‍යා අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා කියලා. මැනේජර් මාත්‍යට දෙන්නම තියෙන දෙයක් අපිට ගන්න කියලා. මේක අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා තුවා තියෙන්නේ. මේක අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවාද මම කියන්නේ. නෑ ජා අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවාද මේක. අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා බලන්න කියනවා. හරි පොලිසිය වහනද මේක. පොලිසියද එහෙම පොලිසිය කියන්නේ අපේ රාජ්‍යවලින් මේක. අපේ මිනිස්සු. මේක පොලිසියද? මේක පොලිසියද? පොලිසියට කියන්නේ අපේ සල්ලි පොලිසිය කියන්නේ ජනතාව. එහෙම බෑ. පොලිසියට වෙන් කරලා තියෙන සල්ලි එහෙම ගන්න බෑ. අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා මේක අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවාද? මට අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා ඔය ලිඛිතේ වෙන්න අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා. මැනේජර් අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා මොකක් කරවල ඔයගොල්ලෝ අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා තෙල් දාන්නේ. එල්ල ඕඩර් එකට. අත්‍යවශ්‍ය කෑ ගන්න බොරුවට නෙමෙයි අත්තට කෑ ගහන්නේ මේවා. මේ ජනතාව ඔක්කොම ගෙම අහන්න. මේ ඔක්කොම නාන කොච්චර දුර පොලිමේ ඉන්නවද? අයිතුණින් ඉන්න පාරිදා. මේ ඔක්කොම නාන ජනතාවගේ කැමතිද අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවාද? මේ කෝටිපතියන්ට කඩ ගන්න කැමතිද? අන්න. ඔය කැමති ඕගොල්ලෝද? අයි මොනවද මට ඔයා? මොනවද කරන්නේ? අන්න. කෑ ගන්න අයි මොනවද කරන්නේ ඔබතුමාලා? මොනවද කරන්නේ මට? කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් කරන්න. කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් කරන්න. ඒවට නම් මම බය නෑ මහත්තයෝ. අයි අපිත් බය නෑ තමයි. බොරුවට නෙමෙයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ වැරදි වැඩන්නේ කෝටිපති නන දුප්පත් ජනතාව ජොබ් එක නැතුව ඉන්න. මේ අයිලා පුතා කාර්යයකට මම ඒක දන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. ඉතින් කෝටිපතියන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ සල්ලි වලට නෙවෙන්නේ.
We praise this individual who stood up for the rights of the citizen. Shouldn't these police officers and the owner of this luxurious vehicle be ashamed? Shouldn't we take immediate action against these police officers who are trying to justify such wrong acts?
Those were the difficulties several people had to face due to the petrol crisis in the country. A very good evening, I'm Sharon Silva.
And I'm Jitendra Kulasena. A comprehensive report on that story follows. Now let's head into tonight's headlines.
Minister Arjuna Ranatunga issues public apology over island-wide petrol mayhem. Trade union suspects substandard petrol will enter country as rejected shipment still anchored in Trincomalee. President appoints another committee to resolve Saitam crisis. 7 killed and 49 others injured in motor accident in Madurankulya. 58 infants die in Indian hospital over 4 days.
Minister Petroleum Resources Development Arjuna Ranatunga convened a media briefing today to explain the purported shortage of petrol.
By the 9th, we are going to start distributing right around the country. So most of the issues will be gone. But for the next 2 to 3 days, if they don't get panic, we won't have a problem. That's the reason that the first 2 days we never had a problem. But after these messages, SMS messages and some other internet issues, they were trying to create an issue. And some of the unions were trying to politicize this. But unfortunately, it affected the mass, not the proper ones. But that's the reason that we kept our mouth shut, and we wanted to try and get this thing sorted out as much as possible. And that's the reason that we thought, okay, now that it's going beyond our control, we should inform the public through the media. That's the reason that we thought we'll have a media conference. No, there are political people also asking to get this shipment inside. So I don't have to answer. I don't answerable to anyone other than the president and the prime minister in this country and the public. So as far as I'm concerned, that's the reason that when we discussed, we rejected this particular shipment because it was not good enough for the country. And repercussions might have been worse if we got this thing into the country. So I'm sure that with all these messages, people will realize. I'm very sorry to say that I'm very sorry this particular issue happened, but I know how to sort it out.
The subject minister also commented on the rejected IOC shipment.
October 17 LIOC
LIOC brought a shipment of petrol down to the country on the 17th of October. It underwent 2 rounds of testing and failed to meet the required parameters. We said we could not accept it without this data and turned the shipment around. I am sad to say that as of today, this ship has been anchored off Trincomalee for 16 days and they are trying to somehow unload this petrol in the country. Usually when a stock of fuel is rejected, the company in question has a responsibility to provide another shipment. They promised to provide another shipment of fuel by the 31st of October or the 1st of November. A few days later, they informed us that they could not do so. At the same time, CPC was anticipating a shipment of fuel to arrive by the 2nd or 3rd of November. As of today, this ship has been delayed by 6 days. This is the first time in the past 3 or 4 years that we have encountered such a delay. Meanwhile, LIOC informed us that they had a shipment of 16,000 metric tons of petrol which could be brought to the country within 4 days. We agreed, but they imposed a condition that we must also purchase a stock of diesel from them. When we tested it, we discovered that it was very low quality diesel, so we rejected that too. This is what has happened. There is no shortage of diesel whatsoever. We have enough diesel for the next 2 to 3 weeks. If there are filling stations which are refusing to supply diesel, then we will have to take a stern decision regarding the licenses in the future. There was also an SMS that was circulating around the country. I have asked both the President and Prime Minister to instruct authorities to uncover where this SMS originated from. We will also form a robust system to ensure that no substandard material will be purchased from this oil company. We are distributing 2,500 metric tons a day. There is a minor issue at some filling stations due to the long queues prompted by the high demand. We will continue to distribute 2,500 tons a day until the 9th of this month. There have been no shortages at some filling stations outside Colombo. We are hoping to resolve the issues at the major filling stations by this evening. I cannot say for sure, but normally when a ship goes to a terminal to refuel, it makes a maximum of 1.5 days. This ship had been there for 4 days. Our refinery broke down on the same day. Coincidence? We were asked to accept substandard diesel, and on top of that, once the ship was en route, it was stopped for 10 hours for bunkering. However, my most pressing concern at the moment is resolving the issue that has arisen and not investigating all of these coincidences.
News First spoke to the Managing Director of Lanka IOC, Shyam Bora, regarding some of the revelations made during the press conference held by Subject Minister Arjuna Ranatunga.
It was rejected because of the impurities in the petrol actually. It was meeting the chemical specifications, but there were some impurities in visibility, so appearance was not meeting the specifications, that's why it was rejected. This particular shipment was from Total, which is a French multinational oil company and which is the top 10 companies in the world. It is the responsibility of the supplier to replace the cargo. So we have asked supplier to replace the cargo, but supplier wanted one more chance to be given to him to test the product again. So that product was also tested and it was rejected again. and immediately we went for the spot tender, and I am going to get my product loaded today, and it may be available on 10th of this month. So immediately, based on the entire process which has been followed, because we will have to lodge damages claims against the supplier. They have not given any date for the replacement till this day. If they don't replace the product, we will take legal action against the Total. We have contacted our parent company, so they are supplying us a gasoline product which is better quality and which is going to be loaded today actually. So we will be receiving it on 10th around 15,000 tons.
The Lanka IOC managing director was also asked why the ship carrying the rejected fuel is still anchored in Trincomalee.
They will have to give the guarantee for the taking it out from the Sri Lankan water. I can't comment on why the ship is anchoring there, because as far as we are concerned, we have rejected the ship. They will have to take the customs or port permission to get out from this place.
The rejected IOC shipment on board the Astrid, a vessel flying the flag of Singapore, remains anchored off the coast of Trincomalee.
The Tom Astrid, carrying 30,000 metric tons of petrol, docked in Colombo on the 15th of last month, and the shipment was rejected on the 17th. Satellite data revealed that the ship was anchored off Tangol on the 19th.
The shipment that was rejected in Colombo was taken to Trincomalee. There is another vessel anchored close to this ship carrying substandard petrol. They had been trying to transfer this fuel to another ship and then move away. The ship is currently in the outer Trincomalee harbour. There is a Hong Kong vessel anchored in the harbour, who is attempting to transfer this fuel into these tanks through the IOC.
According to satellite data, the Hong Kong-based Unique Developer vessel arrived in Trincomalee around the 30th of last month. The ship is currently anchored in the Trincomalee harbour.
Is someone trying to exploit the fuel shortage through spot purchasing? We pose this question to the Secretary of the Ministry of Petroleum Resources Development, and this is what he had to say. The CPC used to operate on spot purchases and long-term tenders when purchasing fuel. We hope to utilize both methods in a way that generates profits for the CPC. When the IOC shipment was rejected, we immediately called for a spot tender.
Strong views were expressed in the political arena regarding the handling of the petrol shortage.
They are trying to devolve power. How can this government successfully devolve power when they can't even distribute petrol? There was a substandard shipment. It was rejected and it is now anchored in the outer harbour in Trincomalee. Can't it return to India? No, they want to unload this somehow. Did the CPC workers protest for their wages to be increased or for promotions? They wanted the Trincomalee tanks to be brought under their control. They asked the government not to sell the oil tanks in the Hambantota port. They don't have tanks to store their reserves. This government is like a drunk father. He sells the bed at one time, then he sells the mattress. This is the state of our country. A lot of people don't remember the price of petrol before this government came into power. We haven't raised the prices of fuel in 2.5 years. When substandard products are brought in, we reject them. What happened before? There were plenty of instances when substandard petrol was circulated and it caused harm to the public. How many vehicles stopped in their tracks? What response did they give when we questioned this? They said that this is not a government that imports substandard goods. They appointed a 3-member committee to look into this. The report said substandard fuel was imported and called for damages to be claimed from certain persons. They said they will provide compensation to the public, but none of this has happened. While politicians engage in debates, the general public are suffering the consequences of the fuel shortage.
This is the extent of the queue that is currently existing at the filling station in Colombo 2. Upon inquiry from these vehicle owners, they said that they were also severely inconvenienced because their day-to-day lives have been disrupted by this incident, and they've had to spend almost 2 to 3 hours on the road waiting to pump fuel into their vehicles.
We have fallen out of the frying pan into the fire. We are severely inconvenienced because of this. We were deceived thrice. Once there was a petroleum strike, now the government is short of stocks. All we say is, come and see for yourselves the trouble we have to go through. Even after paying, we have to beg for fuel. I've been here since 8 in the morning.
Discussing the state of affairs in the country are senior journalist Faraz Shaukat Ali and Bandula Jayasekara, who join us now from the newsroom.
The country lost 145 billion rupees up to the end of 2015. After December 2015, the Monetary Board raised the interest rates anyway. But the calculation of 145 billion is on the increased interest rate up to the end of December 2015.
Who is going to pay for this? The Cabinet of Ministers or what?
Apparently the people, Bandula. Apparently the people.
And then now let's talk of the present situation. The petroleum. What's happening there?
Well, it's a clear case of mismanagement, and the Prime Minister mentions that in his own statement today, as he's quoted in the Island newspaper. Well, it's a little bit rich, the Prime Minister, to say this, because it is the Prime Minister who has appointed these people. If you remember, Ravi Karunanaka, the best finance minister in South Asia.
Arjuna Mahendran,
Mahundan Kanagay, Ajit Dias from Sri Lankan Airlines, the Litro gas terrible mess that was. And, of course, we must not forget Mr. Lakshman Kirialla, the minister in charge of the highways. Remember that?
who owns 30,000 acres.
400 million in the bank
account.
for which he's paid taxes.
But let's tell our viewers what's wrong here with the petroleum issue.
Well, it's very simple. They've run out of petrol, or so they say. And they, since 2012, the cabinet has had a policy to purchase oil, which is the second largest purchase made by the government at 375 billion rupees every year. They took a policy decision to go for term contracts, which were advertised and bid for. But since July this year, they have not done that. They have gone for spot purchases.
But who gave these instructions? The Prime Minister or the Cabinet of Ministers? Who gave these instructions?
Well, we'll have to first of all blame the line minister, because he's in charge, and he in turn is of course responsible to the Cabinet of Ministers, which is where Mr. Wickremesinghe comes in.
So we have lost again.
Once again we have lost.
The people.
And it's a little, I have to harp on that we are at a loss to understand whether this is incompetence, negligence, or something far more sinister.
Then what would you tell the Prime Minister?
That he must go. If he can't do the job that he promised us that he can do, then it's best if he hangs his boots and retires back to fifth lane.
Let's use the Royal College motto, learn or depart.
Absolutely.
Back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Faraz and Bandula. Now today's top story is vividly portrayed by cartoonist Asanka Ladwahetty.
I don't know why, I don't know why, ehema wenne ai, I don't know why, I don't know why, ehema wenne ai, mati amatila owa danne, I don't know why, I don't know why, I don't know why, ehema wenne ai, I don't know why, I don't know why, ehema wenne ai, mati amatila owa danne, I don't know why.
On to other local news, the visiting U.S. Under-Secretary of State for Political Affairs Thomas Shannon called on Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and Foreign Minister Tilak Marapana today. Shannon, who will leave the island tomorrow, participated in a joint press conference with Foreign Secretary Prasad Karyavasan this evening.
Today, I am delighted to announce that Ambassador Shannon and I, together with the respective officials of both countries, have held the second US-Sri Lanka Partnership Dialogue. The second Partnership Dialogue today indicates the consolidation of this important and useful mechanism for discussion on a wider range of important issues and areas of cooperation between our two countries. Ambassador Shannon is the most senior US official in the new US administration to visit Sri Lanka.
I commend Sri Lanka on its courageous decision to commit to a process of reform that promotes greater equality and prosperity for all Sri Lankans, regardless of ethnicity or religion. The United States fully supports those working to build a reconciled Sri Lanka and commends the positive steps towards a new constitution and post-war justice, reconciliation, and accountability. As the government makes progress in this area, our bilateral relationship will continue to grow. Additionally, I am pleased to announce a new $21 million project by the U.S. Department of Agriculture through the Food for Progress program. This program will help increase the productivity of Sri Lanka's dairy sector and connect thousands of Sri Lankan farmers to local and regional markets. I am also pleased to announce that the United States will offer a second U.S. Coast Guard cutter to the Sri Lankan Navy, pending completion of congressional notification. This vessel, a Secretary-class high-endurance cutter, will enable Sri Lanka to more effectively police its coastline and exclusive economic zone, and to protect its sea lanes of communication.
President Maithripala Sirisena has appointed another 9-member committee to probe further into the issues surrounding the Saitam Private Medical College. The committee is to be headed by Deputy Minister Dr. Harsha De Silva.
The committee also consists of 1 member each representing the GMOA, the Medical Faculty Lecturers Association, and the Medical Students Parents Association. The new committee will be tasked with looking into how the recommendations submitted by the earlier committees, headed by Dr. Harsha De Silva, would be implemented and other issues which were not resolved through the earlier report. The President has called on all parties, including the parents of medical students, to refrain from engaging in farce and satyagrahas and instead resolve the issues through discussion.
MTV Channel Private Limited, a part of the media network of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited, was unanimously elected to the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union's Administrative Council.
It was unanimously elected to the ABU's Admin Council, which consists of only 17 other member media organizations from among 67 countries. The ABU membership includes over 280 public and private media organizations across the Asia-Pacific region. MTV was recognized as a forward-thinking organization whose unique brand of media and outstanding work to engage with different communities around Sri Lanka has paid dividends. Whether it is in news reporting or public service initiatives, the Maharaja Media Network has made its mark in the region, being among the giants like NHK, China and Korea, as well as India and Pakistan. Our network has put Sri Lanka on the global media map for the Asia-Pacific region.
It's a great thing for us, actually, being recognized an international platform where broadcasting across the world today is moving very fast with what happens across the world. And we are now in a level playing ground with the other broadcasters sitting together talking about how we would be progressing. So it is significant. MTV NBC Media has been in the forefront of many things in this country. And Sri Lanka is going through a change like in most part of the world is going through. And we've been not just broadcasters, we've also been in community projects, working with the people, and also had been part and parcel of the people of this country's life. And today we've been also been professional broadcasting body has recognized as media group, which is very active in the region and which is an important broadcaster across this part of the world.
Day 2 of the 30th CityNet Colombo Congress was held this morning. The event, which has been organized in partnership with a number of institutes, including UNESCAP, UN Habitat, the International Water Management Institute and the World Bank, focuses on innovative ways to develop sustainable cities of the future.
Addressing the gathering, Speaker Karul Jayasuriya spoke on some of the events which occurred during his term as Mayor of Colombo.
Having been one of those thoroughly involved in the private sector in this country, I soon realized that the people elected me so convincingly because they needed a change. In local democracy, wasteful inter-party conflicts and political confrontation has denied or delayed the community of the services they deserved. As mayor, I invited members of the opposition parties to be chairman of statutory standing committees so that all parties could pool their resources towards the common good of the community. Councils which are structured and motivated to change and recognize the need for it are those that will succeed and likely to be seen as useful, necessary and acceptable by the public.
We have to look at the governance of the western province, which has always been the urbanized area. In this, we have set up a ministry of the western megapolis to convert the whole western area, province, into an urbanized population of 8 million. The largest urbanized area city inside the Indian Ocean. So we are trying to move away from one single unified administration of municipal services into a number of smaller units. On the other hand, we can't have fully functional local authorities, each one undertaking its own services. That is too costly. So all the services that are common, that can be combined, that will be efficient combined, would be run separately, and the municipals could then take the day-to-day decisions that affect the citizens. So this has been our thinking.
The seminar also saw the attendance of the Mayor of Seoul, South Korea, Park Won-soon, and a number of other distinguished dignitaries.
7 people lost their lives in a bus crash at the 10th mile post in Madurankulya on the Colombo-Puttalam main road.
The ill-fated bus was travelling from Colombo to Jaffna. At 8 this morning, the bus attempted to overtake a three-wheeler at the 10th mile post in Madurankulya. According to the police, it was at that time the bus came into contact with the barrier of the bridge and toppled over. 49 others were injured and were rushed to the Puttalam, Chilav and Mundalama hospitals.
The Siyaturugama Udagam Mana built in Lunugambehera Hambantota was declared open today. The event was graced by the Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Minister Sajith Premadasa. This is the 46th model village built under the Samatasavana Udagam Mana revival program. The village comprises of 24 houses and was built at a cost of 16.5 million rupees. Japanese philanthropist Ukashawa Hiroshi was amongst those present at the occasion. Former Deputy Chairman of the Suryavava Pradeshiya Sabha UPFA member Sugat Gamini Ruwan Patirana, SLFP Valigawatta organizer KP Susanta, former Secretary of the SLFP Lunugambehera Balamandala H. Samarasinghe and several others defected to the United National Party today. Just as we are building Udagam Mana villagers, we have planned to launch a massive housing project to construct residential complexes in the Hambantota district. Due to land disputes in urban areas and the scarcity of barren land, we have proposed to launch a project of residential complexes instead of Udagam Mana villagers. Just as my father built houses in Maligawatta for the people, I will bring development for the Hambantota district. Sajith Premadasa pledges that a residential complex will be built for the people of Hambantota.
Well, that's it for tonight. For the News First team, I'm Jitendra Kunasena.
And I'm Shrin Silva. Take care and good night.